Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.
My friends and I always tune into the Todd Levitt Law Show. Todd is entertaining, informative, and always delivers the goods.
Todd might not tell you what you want to hear, but he's going to tell you what you need to hear. And all you got to do is listen.
Hold on, Todd. Don't let go. It's time for the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
Welcome to the Todd L. Levitt Marijuana Law Podcast. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I'm yours truly, Attorney Todd L. Levitt, broadcasting and podcasting. Here it comes once again from the middle of the mitten in a beautiful green nutrient field from the Black Diamond Group mothership. Craig Russell the Muscle. We're back. How you doing, my man?
I am ready for spring. Baseball season has started. Spring is here. A young man's fancy turns to the 420 Canna Expo. That's what it is. That's what I'm all about.
It's all about the 420 Canna Expo. And by the way, big shout out to obviously everyone that listens to the show on podcast.
Sure. And
we've heard from people all over the world: Spain, Australia, Europe, South America, Australia, New Zealand, India. And we have a huge following: California, Texas, Florida, on all 50 states. Obviously, the state of Michigan is where the largest number of downloads come from. But each and every Sunday morning for the last number of years, you've been able to hear us on a number of Black Diamond Group stations. And I'm sad to say that this is the last Sunday that we're going to appear on Rock 105 95.5.
We just rock. Yeah, no, that's true. It is. They've made some changes there. You know, Smitty is no longer there. But they've got some good replacements and stuff. Dave Duran's a good guy who I know for a long time. But yeah, no, you'll be able to still hear us on the podcast. So if you are in the upper areas of the lower peninsula, Traverse City, Sheboygan, Gaylord, and those places, you can hear us on 98.5 UPS, but you can also hear us on the podcast. So make sure you download it and listen to us that way.
Yeah, just download Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, SoundCloud, Libsyn, TuneIn on your smartphone, and subscribe to the show. My last name is Levitt, Todd Levitt. Just put in Todd Levitt Podcast, and you can subscribe. But you can also catch us on the UPS app. We're still going to be on the other sister station, W98.5, as we've always been on UPS. But, hey, I mean, I don't know. I know we have a few listeners in the Rock 105 95 listening area. Maybe if everybody just starts calling the station and saying, hey, why are you getting rid of the Todd Levitt Law Show?
Hey.
Maybe they'll put us back on.
You know, stranger things have happened in this world. You just never know. But we still love everybody at Rock 105 and Rock 95.5.
Oh, absolutely. Part of the family.
Cartman's still there. Yep. Cartman.
And we appreciate Norm and Mike and allowing us to blast the airwaves in the Rock 105 95 listening area. But again, we're still with the company. We're just changing some things around, and unfortunately, that's how business is, but we're not going anywhere. And you can catch us live at the 420 Canna Expo. We're going to be recording for the attendees on a stage at the show. So Little John is going to be in attendance, and he's coming on the show today. Steve Lato will be there. Vinny is going to be there. We've got some other special guests. Big Hair will be in the house. So it's going to be a great show. Over the past week, the exhibitor list has just exploded. I mean, we've got processors coming. We've got a lady coming from Toronto, Chicago. This thing has just exploded.
Dr. Mary Clifton's going to be there, too. I remember we talked to her a few months ago. She's going to be at the show. There's going to be a lot of great people at the show.
Mike Camorn's going to be their attorney. I mean, this thing is just on fire. It's lit. But hey, Craig, do you know why we opened up with one of my all-time favorite groups? I mean, literally one of my all-time favorite top groups, period, Motley Crue.
This has got to be, if this is not in your top 5, it's in your top 2 or top 3 of all time.
Yeah, Motley Crue just destroys it. Because I watched The Dirt on Netflix. It was produced by the 4 guys in the group. It's their story.
Yeah, it's a biopic, as they call it. Bohemian Rhapsody was the one for Queen. The Dirt is the Motley Crue one. Funny little story about that. There's a famous scene in there where a girl is in the crowd and she's up on a guy's shoulders and she takes her top off, and that's shown in the scene. Actually, the girl who played her in the movie, the actress, is an intern for a radio station in Minneapolis, and I happen to know the guy who she works with. So I think it's really funny that they're like all really weird about it because she's only 19, and so they're like talking to her about it and everything, and it's kind of strange. But
yeah, I mean it's as clear as day in the movie. I'm just saying. So if you don't have Netflix, get Netflix and check out The Dirt, the Motley Crue story. It's narrated by all 4 members. It's so clever how they went about doing it. So I had to destroy it with one of their earlier tunages on one of their earlier albums there, and it's pretty sweet.
That's Livewire. That's kind of like the equivalent of Runaway to Bon Jovi, and maybe even Running with the Devil for Van Halen. Motley Crue, they became almost a pop rock band after a while. But early on, some of their super hard stuff was really good, and Livewire is a great song. And that's why we're playing it today. Great song.
Destroying it. Hey, I got a complaint and a shout out before the show begins.
Okay.
First, a shout out to, I was at a Big Boy a week or so ago over the bridge in the great state of Superior. As it turns out, the general manager and the manager, Judy and Jessica, great ladies, by the way, great service. They both work with their daughters there, Jeannie and Charity. So Jessica, who's the manager, her daughter Charity works there, and Judy, the general manager, her daughter Janine works there. And they just run such a nice restaurant. It's so clean and they're so polite. They did such a great job. So big shout out to all the ladies and all the hardworking men and women at Big Boy, which is right there across the bridge on Highway 2. Stop in and tell them that you heard it right here on the show of all shows. But great food, great folks.
There used to be a ton of different Big Boys all around the country. There were Frisch's Big Boys, Bob's Big Boys, and Elias Brothers Big Boys. There's not that many of them left anymore. So if you find a Big Boy, that's a good thing. And there's probably people listening to the podcast who are familiar with Big Boy, but that's one of those chains that used to be really, really big, kind of like Howard Johnson's, and it's gone. It's kind of whittled down. So if you find a Big Boy,
absolutely
go to it.
But how about my complaint?
Okay, go for it.
So my complaint is one I've used in the past, and it really pisses me off. So I'm in a restaurant, and it's a restaurant with 2 words, second word ending in bread, first word starting with the letter P. And
gee, I wonder what
I know, right?
Be.
I know, right? I'm in a line there, and I'm waiting to order. And so there's 2 registers, and there's individual customers at each of the 2 registers. Now, I was second in line, so there was a person in front of me. But the person in front of me was standing, I'm not kidding you, 10 to 15 feet back from the registers. There was a whole entire space that this individual could have moved up so that I felt like I got some progress as I wanted to get towards the registers. And I just so wanted to say something to this lady, like, can you please frickin' move up at least 6 feet? I mean, can you just start slowly inching forward like an inchworm, like a turtle? I need some movement here. I mean, there was so much space between that lady and the customers at the register that you could put a minivan in between them. I mean, it just pissed me off. And finally, a customer went, into the restaurant, and this lady in front of me went to the register, and I moved up like, a truck length. And the people behind me, I looked at them, and they smiled at me. They knew exactly what I was thinking.
I can also throw in there when you're in line at a drive-through and somebody's in front of you, and obviously the car ahead of them has already pulled up past like the window and stuff, and they're just sitting there. It's like, come on. Really?
I saw something. Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. And you want to honk your horn at them, but you don't want to be that guy. But you have to because they're obviously on their phone or something, or they're not paying attention because obviously if they were paying attention, they would move up to the window and pay and get their food and all that stuff.
Yeah, here's another one for you. I want to hear something really dangerous. I'm heading south on Mission in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, in the middle of the mitten here.
Okay.
And I'm at a light. I'm the first truck heading south. As I proceed, as the light changes, I look in the, I'm always looking around to be safe and make sure I'm a defensive driver. And on the opposite side, heading north, there's a 2-lane road on the other side. There's a lady who's texting, and she was just sitting there. Her car wasn't moving, and traffic was already moving in both directions. And I'm thinking, holy crap, this lady's going to get smacked. So here's somebody who's texting. The light has changed 30 seconds ago, and she's still sitting there looking down at her phone.
Don't text and drive, people. Come on. Don't do it. Don't.
I want to know when we're going to come out with like hover vehicles. I think I saw something on Cheddar. There's cheddar.com about this, or you have these big hover vehicles. If we can have drones with spinning blades that rise it up and then forward, why can't we have motor vehicles that do the same thing? I thought I saw something online about that.
It'd be really cool if maybe in the case of lady sitting
George Jetson, man, come on. Little John. In fact, Little John will be the first one to try that out. He's coming on the show here in a minute.
Yeah, really? He's going to be the first one to do the big hovercraft thing?
First one to do the hovercraft.
I can see that happening.
To the beautiful green nutrient field.
Hey, when we come back from break, we'll have Little John and possibly other special guests in the mothership. That's what we do here. We'll be back on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Right back.
This is attorney Todd L. Levitt with an important message.
What's that, Todd?
Craig, mark your calendar. April 20th, 2019, the nation's premier event for everything cannabis and hemp is descending on the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort located right here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
What's that, Todd?
420 Canna Expo will feature the industry's most knowledgeable professionals from cultivation, medical, recreational, research, staffing, canna tourism, smoke shops, grow shops, merchandisers, glass makers, and more. Every facet of the industry will be represented on April 20th, 2019 at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. For more information on attending, sponsorship, and exhibitor space, log on to 420cannaexpo.com. That's 420cannaexpo.com. And stay tuned to our podcast for more information. Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, broadcasting and podcasting in a beautiful green nutrient field. Hey, Craig.
Hey, Todd.
Little John's in the mothership.
Oh, Little John's the man. We love Little John.
And by the way, I'm getting a lot of calls in the state of Michigan regarding micro grows and hemp farming.
All right.
At the 420 Canna Expo, attorney Mike Camorn, and it's free to the public, is going to be speaking about hemp farming. We also have another attorney who's going to be speaking about micro grows and the business of micro grows, in addition to the medical doctors, pharmacologists, DJ Short, and all the other speakers that are set to speak for free. We've had dozens of new exhibitors sign up that are going to be on the exhibitor floor, which is also free to the public. We can't stress it enough. And we're going to be broadcasting this show to all the attendees on stage. So, and we're not sure the time right now. It's going to be sometime in the early afternoon around 1 or 2 p.m. And we'll have chairs set up and whatnot. And Little John will be there, Steve Ladle, Big Hair, and you and I, and some other special guests.
It's going to be great. And here's the other thing, too. Didn't we talk to Mike Camorn probably almost almost a year ago about those micro grows. It was around the time of the Hash Bash last year. He was
Yeah, it was.
He was talking about micro grows, and now we're going to talk about them again. And now it's legal for us to talk about those things. So
it's unbelievable. We have a lot of great speakers and exhibitors that are coming from all over the country, and it's business to business. So if you are someone who's getting into the cannabis business and you're interested in meeting other men and women in the business, this is something you'll want to attend. Again, it's at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort on April 20th, free to the public. Check out our website. We say it over and over. Be sure to sign up on the website for a free gift baggie. And we'll start announcing all the sponsors starting next week, and all the exhibitors. It's already laid out on the floor plan. But Craig, another big thing is CVS is now carrying hemp products.
That's the offshoot
kind
of the
old news.
It's the offshoot of the Farm Bill. That's some of the things. Some of these CBD products are now legal in some places. I know there's getting some resistance in some states where even though it has been made legal by the federal government, some states are still objecting to it. The Dakotas, I know, are part of this, and some other places around the country. When are they going to get off their you-know-whats and figure out that this is more than just you're trying to be resistant to medical marijuana or recreational marijuana? This is a totally different thing. Come on, people, get with it.
Yeah, let's talk to little John about that. He's in the mothership right here.
Okay, how you doing, my brother from another mother?
Little John, this is perfect right up your alley. So CVS is now carrying CBD products, and there's a lot of resistance from some places around the country. What do you think about that?
Well, you know what? People just doesn't like change. And, I'm finding it everywhere anymore. Finding it cheap out to some places, cheaper than the normal places, but that's all right. I'm just getting myself prepared, getting older there, and so I'm waiting for the Soaring Eagle, April 20th, 420. We're going to have a big show, and the way I hear, I'm going to get to see you again, my brother from another mother.
Yes, you will. You're going to be there. Big Hair's going to be there. Vinny's going to be there. Gavin's going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. All your favorite characters from the Todd L. Levitt Law Show and Marijuana Law Podcast are going to be there. And you're going to be there live center stage, little John. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be there, I just about didn't make it here.
Why is that?
I'm way in, I just coming in from Mayberry, and in between Beer City and Mount Pilot, I sat there and rear-ended a van. Dang, that whole thing was loaded with cannabis, and it came all over the place. You should have seen the car stopping to pick up free cannabis.
No.
April Fools.
What about Opie and Andy and Floyd the Barber? Were they there too?
Oh, yeah. See, I have to come that way. I live out in the town called Mayberry. We used to be a one Marshall town, and then to get to Mount Pilot here, I have to go through Beer City. Oh, that's a great journey every day. 20-mile run. Yep.
Oh, little John, you're the man.
We just got to go the way it flows,
Totally.
The best happens to the left. Yep.
What else is going on in your world?
Not much. I want to give a shout out to all the Eagles areas in the United States. They do great work, a lot of charity. The one out in Wademan, I really want to give a big shout out to. That's the one I used to be president of. I'm the vice president right now, but we've got over 600 members out there in the little town of Mayberry. But, man, do we pack them in for our fish fries. Special shout-out to a girl named Chrissy, our bartender. Runs the whole show. She really does a good job.
Friday night fish fries? You do a Friday night fish fry this time of year?
Oh, yeah, Friday night fish fries, and we have chicken on the side, all you can eat also, just in case you don't like to go swimming with the fish.
Well, it's that time of year. Fish is good this time of year.
Well, during Lent, we try to do it every Friday, and otherwise we do it twice a month. But I've been a member of the Eagles for 30-some years, and great organization. And even though I don't indulge in alcohol no more, it's still a lot of fun.
And everybody has a good time, and everybody's well-behaved, correct?
Oh, well, I'm not. I never have been. It's beautiful being naturally high, And it's great always seeing the trails from the yesteryears.
Oh, little John in the house. What's not to love?
I hear you, my brother from another mother. Yeah, this cannabis stuff, I've been seeing and hearing a lot of people talk about the new rock candies they're making. They're making them root beer candies. They're making the cookies. And, geez, I'm hearing so much. One of these days, I'm going to have to try some.
Now would be the time. Now would be the time.
I would love to. I would love to, let me tell you, my brother, but you know how that goes.
It does cost money, and that's the thing.
Yep, you got that right. But thanks to our friend, I have a card, but I don't use it. But it's just amazing what they're doing and how many people I know of that are getting cured using cannabis, putting it in their coffee in the morning, the oil, a teaspoon on with their coffee, and taking care of people that are taking radiation treatments or chemo treatments. They go down to Detroit to get the shot, and the doctors are freaking out because they're healing. They're not needing the shot. Is it the cannabis? I have to say yes.
Well, that's what they're finding out, and that's one of the reasons CVS is getting into this now in select places, is that not only for all the other things that ail, they're actually starting to make a connection with autism, that autistic patients taking CBD oils can help them, especially with sensory issues and things. I mean, the health benefits, and of course, that's plenty of the stuff we're going to talk about at the 420 Canna Expo, because that's what it's a lot of education. There's going to be a lot of booths and a lot of vendors who are going to be talking about those kind of products. You won't be able to consume any products on the grounds of the casino, but there's going to be a lot of information and a lot of education, and these are some of the things, the medical benefits of the CBD oils and also of cannabis and even the hemp are far outweigh the risks and things. 50 years ago, they didn't know this stuff. Now they know this stuff, and now they know what they're getting themselves into. And that's going to be a good thing. And that's going to be a big part of the 420 Canna Expo.
Yes, and it should be because, last time I was in one of the big hospitals, they gave me some cannabis cookie. It was a chocolate chip, and man alive, it killed the pain like I couldn't believe.
I bet
Took
it did.
me back to the 70s and the 80s.
I bet it did.
When I used to make marijuana turkey dressing and my marijuana brownies. Oh, boy. Good old days.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, there you go. But it's just stuff that turkey or that chicken anytime, and you got enough there when you have the munchies to eat all them desserts. Well, I turn you over to my brother here.
All right.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you here soon and being on the show and talking to you again, my brother. Yes.
Little John, everybody. Little John in the mothership. That's awesome.
It's always great having Little John in the mothership.
Oh, yeah.
Little John's been with me from day one. He used to help me run my skateboard company and do security, and he's done so much with me. He's always there. We gave out free safe rides to the college students years ago so there was an issue with a student who was assaulted, and Little John and I got together and rented a minivan and provided free rides to the students. Safe rides is what it's called. We provided safe rides, and Central Michigan University now provides safe rides, as do a lot of college campuses. But you'll be able to see and meet Little John at the 420 Canna Expo. So you'll find our exhibit we're putting on the show, and we're one of the big sponsors of Todd Levitt Law Show here. And Craig, you'll be there as well.
I will be, and that's the beautiful thing about this. There's probably been people who've been listening to Little John on the radio in this area for like 10 years. And
have no idea who he is, what he looks like.
No, and now they'll get...
Because that's not even his real name.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Hey, we got a huge, I get questions all the time. When is federal prohibition finally going to come to an end? I mean, what's going to happen? And I do have an update for the listeners as to what has been taking place on a federal level. So I definitely want to talk about that when we come back from break and give my opinion on when I see things changing.
All right. Well, we'll do that after we take a break on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. We'll be right back.
This is attorney Todd L. Levitt with an important message.
What's that, Todd?
Craig, mark your calendar. April 20th, 2019, the nation's premier event for everything cannabis and hemp is descending on the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort located right here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
What's that, Todd?
420 Canna Expo will feature the industry's most knowledgeable professionals from cultivation, medical, recreational, research, staffing, Canna tourism, smoke shops, grow shops, merchandisers, glass makers, and more. Every facet of the industry will be represented on April 20th, 2019 at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. For more information on attending, sponsorship, and exhibitor space, log on to 420cannaexpo.com. That's 420cannaexpo.com. And stay tuned to our podcast for more information. Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, broadcasting and podcasting. It's a mess of legalization out there, Craig Russell, on a federal level. And we promised the listeners when we came back from break, I would talk a little bit about legalization on a federal level.
And I have to believe, unfortunately, can I be a little pessimistic about this? This probably isn't going to happen for a while, is it?
I would say within the next, and again, you have to look at the big picture, how far we've come. I'd say within the next 2 to 4 years, marijuana is going to be removed from Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substance Act, which will open the way for an entire country industry to just take over and provide revenue and job growth, and even in the green market, no pun intended. But, I mean, I think that support for cannabis prohibition is finally crumbling. Congress, if you follow Congress as I do and you do, the Congress ended January 3rd of this year, 2019.
Right.
And prior to that, the federal lawmakers actually introduced, by my last count, close to 50 to 60 pieces of cannabis-related legislation. And that's more than has ever been introduced before. So what that means is you have men and women that represent districts from all over the country that are introducing different bills. Now, you can ask yourself, well, what's so great about that? Why can't they all come together on one? But if you take, if you take all of these proposals, all the bills, all the committees, eventually everything will be discussed and worked through so that it ends up with, no overlapping of bills and everyone working together to encompass everything. And that's what I think is taking place. And then in the end, cannabis, marijuana will be removed from Schedule 1. The laws will be put in place. And, the weed will finally be free. As I always say every week, free the weed. So there's a number of bills that I've broken down that I think are extremely important. And obviously, first and foremost, it deals with our veterans. Making sure that the veterans always have, their rights protected, scientific research. There's the individual state rights, as we've seen, exercised across this great country of ours, because with all the states now that are medical and Michigan become recreational and more on the way, which really blows my mind, like New Jersey. Last week, New Jersey, they were supposed to have some forward movement on this, and then for whatever reason, it just got tanked. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, for the most part, you could travel this great country of ours, Craig, and we're all the same. We all want to work. We want to support our children. We want good health. We want good jobs. We want to live, a good life in the outdoors. We want to pay less taxes. We can all agree on that.
Sure.
But we all want, security. We want comfort. We want shelter. And we just want a future for our children and their children. And we're all the same at the end of the day. And And in the end, why each state varies just blows my mind. Why in Michigan are we now recreational, and yet in Indiana, nothing's happening? Why in Michigan are we recreational, and New Jersey, which was about to have a vote, everything just crumbled? I mean, what are the states waiting for? It makes no sense to me. People are people, and at the end of the day, we all want the same things. We want to wake up, work hard, support our family, put food on the table, and we want the government to leave us the hell alone. This is my opinion. This is not the opinion of the radio station or any of its sponsors. This is Todd L. Levitt's opinion.
I was going to say, there's a TV show on True TV, and if you've been watching any of the NCAA basketball tournament, you probably figured out, where's True TV? Well, there's a show on there called Adam Ruins Everything, and it's a comedian named Adam Conover, and he basically busts holes in popular myths about everything there is, from financial stuff to education to whatever. And if I could play his part for about 10 seconds, I would say it's all because of money. And it always is because of money. There's obviously reasons when some of these states start to figure out, hey, you know what we can do? Like California, we can start taxing the sale of marijuana. And when we start making $200, $300, $400, $500 million a year off a product that we were making $0 off of last year, a lot of states are going to go, that doesn't sound too bad, making a whole bunch of money. And it's going to take probably a progressive president. Say what you will about Donald Trump. The Farm Bill, that's how hemp became legalized. Industrial hemp.
Yeah.
And the Farm Bill is got another 5 years before it's going to be redone. There could be a new president. It could be Trump again. It's going to take a progressive president probably inside the Farm Bill to just say to legalize, to take marijuana out of Schedule 1. It's going to take something like that. And eventually, I think as more states legalize things and as you see more money coming out of it, a lot of other states, much like I still believe a lot of communities in Michigan who are opting out of having dispensaries in their area, when they start to see other places making all kinds of money off of it, that's going to be what changes their mind.
And it's not even it's also not just about money, it's about what the people want. I mean, times have changed, people have changed, and you asked me earlier, when do I think we're going to see some major changes? I think as we get closer to the 2020 election, I can see it's already starting to happen where some of these lawmakers who are running for president, are going to start to jump on the cannabis bandwagon. And I would say, as an advocate, that I appreciate the support, but I don't like someone jumping on a bandwagon just to get my vote. I'm not even going to say I'm voting for any of them because I'm not a Democrat or Republican. What do we always say, Craig?
We're
Americans.
That's right.
But with that being said, I can appreciate on the local level, on the state level, and the federal level, people who want to support end of federal prohibition. But if someone's past reflects that they were strongly against it, and now that they're running for office, higher office, at a different realm, they want to jump on a bandwagon because they see the people changing and support for it. That's BS, and that pisses me off.
Well, how do you know when somebody's mind isn't changed? How do you know that all of a sudden, because as we've determined, it really doesn't matter anymore.
Craig, they're politicians.
I know,
Craig,
but it doesn't
they're
matter.
Politicians.
I understand, but it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat anymore because it's really now just becoming not in that respect a non-party thing. You can be Republican and you can still be for marijuana legalization.
No, there's support on both sides of the aisle. In fact, I mean, in the state of Michigan, Governor Snyder, who did he did some really good things. I mean, you can go either way on that, but as far as I'm concerned, as a defense attorney, he did some really good things as far as expunging criminal records. He got rid of the driver responsibility fee, and under his watch, the Medical Marijuana Act took place, although there were a lot of problems with it, and the Marijuana Taxation Reform Act started taking hold. Now, the new governor, she supported it as well as our attorney general, so there's a lot of good things happening in Michigan. My thought is, again, if you look across this great country, even the world, people are people. Come on, folks. I mean, how is it in one state it can be recreational, but there's a problem in North or South Dakota? You see it? You see what I'm getting at here? What are people different in the Dakotas? Are people different in Jersey? I got relatives from Jersey and New York. I mean, I'm telling you right now. Maybe they're a little bit more aggressive, but they're no different.
They're not different. They're not different. But here's
my point is, we should all be consistent here.
Agreed. And I think it's not that I think that eventually it won't ever happen, because I think it will happen. And you're right. We have made great strides from 1970 to now, think about, and that's only a span of, in the realm of a country's life, 40 or 50 years is really not that much time.
Yeah, remember we talked about the States Act, Craig?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
That's actually, as far as I'm concerned, that's the front runner in the legislature, the States Act, and that's a big deal.
Right, and I think, and again, even looking, where were we 20 years ago? How many states had any kind of marijuana legal at all 20 years ago?
And the States Act will allow states, exactly, the States Act, as we've talked about in past shows, will allow the states, as they're doing now, to regulate cannabis without federal interference. So that's a good one. And then there's a Marijuana Justice Act, and that's another good one. But I'm all for the States Act. That's my key bill that I've been following, and it was introduced by bipartisan support from Colorado and other places. So Corey Gardner introduced that.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I think eventually, yes, in New Jersey, there's probably enough people now to where they're talking about legalizing marijuana, whether it's medicinally or recreational. And as that groundswell of support builds and builds, there'll be no way in the world that politicians can ignore it. They're going to have to do something about it, or they're not going to get reelected. And I think that's, that's the difference between, in Michigan, maybe it's been a little more on the forefront. In other states, New York is the next one that's probably going to fall. Missouri's probably going to fall too. I mean, eventually you're going to start to have, you've already got more than half the states in the country that have some form of legalized marijuana. Eventually you're going to have more than half the states that have it legalized recreational. There's not going to be a stopping of it eventually. It's not like it's going to all turn around and go backwards. The States Act is a big part of it. Whoever is the next president, whether it's Trump, whether it's somebody else, the Farm Bill is going to be another part of it. It's just going to keep moving forward. It just depends on how quickly they can do it.
Agreed 100%. But what I'm saying with New Jersey is they were all set to vote on legal recreational marijuana, and then it was postponed because, of course, of infighting and other reasons. So, again, just more BS. But we have a lot of listeners in Jersey, actually. So I'm all for New Jersey.
We support you, Jerseyites. We support your fight.
There's also a proposal in the legislature it's like titled Ending Federal Marijuana Prohibition Act. And that was submitted way back in 2011. And, again, that's to reschedule cannabis. It has to be rescheduled out of Schedule 1. How do you compare hemp, which is now an agricultural product, marijuana with heroin? I just don't see the comparison. Never have. I'm a defense attorney. I've seen a lot of things in my representation of people, and I can go on and on and on and on all day about this.
And you'll get a chance to when we come back from break. We've got to take a break on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, but we will be right back.
This is attorney Todd L. Levitt with an important message.
What's that, Todd?
Craig, mark your calendar. April 20th, 2019, the nation's premier event for everything cannabis and hemp is descending on the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort located right here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
What's that, Todd?
420 Canna Expo will feature the industry's most knowledgeable professionals from cultivation, medical, recreational, research, staffing, canna tourism, smoke shops, grow shops, merchandisers, glass makers, and more. Every facet of the industry will be represented on April 20th, 2019 at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. For more information on attending, sponsorship, and exhibitor space, log on to 420cannaexpo.com. That's 420cannaexpo.com. And stay tuned to our podcast for more information. Little John, do you agree with everything I've said?
Definitely. It's nuts. It's crazy. Why don't they get to work and do what we're paying for?
I love Little John.
He's the man. All right, start the last segment of the show.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, coming back strong. They've moved ahead of Lola the Kinks because of this show today, Craig, into my all-time top place. Motley Crue from the movie The Dirt on Netflix. I just saw it 3 times.
3 times? I didn't realize you watched it 3 times.
Yeah, because it's Netflix. You can watch it over and over and over and over and over again.
Very true. That is very true. And when you run for office in 2020, you've got Little John's vote, so that's good to know too. So
yeah, Little John's going to be my he's going to be my chief of staff. Frank Bailey's coming. He's coming to Congress with me. Little John.
Perfect.
Big Hair is going to be my legislative assistant, and we're taking the whole group with us. Craig, you're just going to be head of the heads. I don't know. You're just such a stellar individual.
I was going to say, can I play the...
You're in charge of catering. You're in charge of catering.
Catering?
I don't know.
I want to be the press secretary. Can I be the Sarah Sanders Huckabee thing? Can I be your mouthpiece?
You will be the press secretary, and Big Hair will be in charge of physical exercise because he's like the king of yoga right now.
Yes, he is.
And he actually came over to my house in yoga pants last week so we could do a little shredding now that the grounds are starting to melt and dry up. And he came over in yoga pants, and I almost had some of my German Shepherds go after him. I was not happy.
Big Hair. You'll get to see Big Hair in less than 21 days. It's 21 days till the 420 Canna Expo in Mount Pleasant, Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. 420cannaexpo.com. Hey, before we get to anything else, I wanted to ask you a question. So we were talking about federal prohibition and all these bills that you were kind of looking at to see what the end of federal prohibition is going to be. What do all these bills have in common? Do they have a one unifying thread to them?
They do, and the one unifying thread is that they all seek to remove cannabis from Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substance Act, and that's it right there. And that will allow for banking. That will allow for CDL holders and individuals such as myself and yourself who support the Second Amendment to be able to exercise our constitutional rights and participate in medical programs. It'll allow even more care for our veterans. We love our veterans out there. And look, I say it all the time. I support law enforcement. They're just doing their job. It's that they're just following the laws that the men and women in the state houses, at the local, state, and federal level, enact. So, things are moving in the right direction. They need to move faster, but with all these candidates running for office in 2020 at all different levels, I see a lot of movement there. So
I know you didn't want to hear me when I said it's all about money, but is it possible?
It is about money.
Is it possible when the federal government realizes that they can tax marijuana sales, that will speed things up even more? Because think about how much money. We've got a $24 trillion debt right now.
Here's what I think has happened. You want to know my opinion?
Sure.
To jump in here and interrupt you as I do, because that's how I am.
It's your show.
I'm not medicated right now. I just woke up. I'm chewing on some coffee beans right now in the mothership.
It's your show. But your name's on the marquee. You can do whatever you want.
I just, when I close my eyes, I envision all these huge special interest groups with all this money that have so much power and influence over our elected officials that have lobbied against this, cannabis being removed from Schedule 1. I mean, if you really want to think about it, who are the companies and individual companies and corporations that benefit from hemp being illegal? It's no longer. It's now an agriculture product. But marijuana on a medical level and otherwise still being kept under Schedule 1.
Drug
okay, there you go. There's always a reason. There's always money behind these things. Yep. But now the problem is that, times have changed. People have changed. We don't think the way we thought 100 years ago. Technology has caused us to think differently. We live longer, we're healthier, and there's reasons for it. I mean, if something works across the board, eventually it will rise to the top. And that's why CBDs are now being sold by CVS and every other street corner out there. And folks, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're going to look into purchasing a product with CBD in it, which is, one of the cannabinoids here, you better be sure you're not purchasing junk. There's a lot of BS out there. There's a lot of mislabeling in food products. Okay. There's a lot of mislabeling in shampoo and conditioner. Now we're talking about products that you can rub on you can use for health reasons. Do your freaking homework. Talk to men and women who know what they're talking about that can point you in the right direction. Just because something says contains CBD, guess what? It may not contain any CBD. So come to the 420 Canna Expo. That's not a solicitation for it, but we've got pharmacology professor from University of Michigan. We've got medical doctors. We've got lawyers. We've got businessmen and women who are experienced. We got DJ Short coming. We have growers. We have processors. We have dispensaries who are coming. And we have Canna artists who are going to be there and glass blowers. And we have so many different exhibitors who are in the know that can educate you. It's free to the public. Get out there on April 20th, Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. We're going to be there. You're going to be there. I'm ready for the show, Craig.
Well, and I am too. And I think that's another thing. If you remove this from Schedule 1 and you eliminate the prohibition on it, and also CBD is becoming legal and all this stuff becoming legal, then you can get the federal government and the Food and Drug Administration to get in and start testing some of these things. So you can find out, hey, you know what? The product that I'm buying or the thing that I'm purchasing is actually legit. It's what it's supposed to be. It's what it says it is. And then there's not as much of this riffraff going on. I think that's a big part of all of this as well.
Anytime anything goes mainstream, you're always going to get the posers, the imposter products, and so on and so forth. So it's really important to know what you're purchasing. Make sure if you have a legal right, at least in the state of Michigan, to go to a dispensary, you have to be a card holder at this point in order to enter a dispensary. Big shout out to Lit Dispensary in Everett. They do a great job there. The men and women of Lit in Everett, Michigan. Big shout out. And kudos to the state of Michigan for just licensing, a number of pre-qualified individuals that were, trying to open up grow operations, processing, dispensing, transportation, testing. The things are moving in the right direction at a very nice pace right now.
That's what we like to hear. Of course, that's what we're all about here. Unfortunately, I have some bad news for you, Todd.
Okay, I know what you're about to say, but I just want to say also that at least in the state of Michigan, the Department of Agriculture has put together regulations and rules on how the state is going to govern hemp farming. So right now we're taking a look at that. We're sifting through it, and there's going to be some changes to it. There's going to be some improvements, but there's a lot of farmers out there, individuals who want to get into hemp farming. Attorney Mike Camorn is going to be speaking for free at the Expo in regards to hemp farming, and he's an expert. So you want to make sure you get out there and at least listen to that. But Craig, are you about to tell me that we have to end the show and leave the mothership?
I am about to tell you that.
Come on, Greg. I just got started. Come on, my man. Little John's in the mothership. I'm full of coffee. I've been chewing on coffee beans right now because I ran out of dip.
Little John's been up all night long. He needs to go home and go to bed.
Little John, do you need to get home and do some sleeping?
Well, yeah, I got up special for this, and then it's April Fool's Day, and what can I do?
I love Little John.
For April Fool's Day tomorrow, you're going to let Little John go to court for you?
Little John I don't know about that, but Little John would do a great job, though. Hey, listen, Craig, we're just gonna destroy it as we exit the show with some more Motley Crue, who are definitely my top one now. Sorry, Kinks, you're number 2 with Lola. Craig, we got to go, but where are we gonna see you, Craig?
At the 420 Canna Expo in 21 days. I'll see you there.
I'm not just a litigator. I'm an advocator. Take me out with some Nikki Sixx and the boys. We'll see you next week.
The Todd L. Levitt Law Show, brought to you by Chad Mallywell Drilling of Rosebush, Clark Modular Homes, your most experienced and trusted builder in Mount Pleasant, Clear Vision Windows, Siding, Roofing, and Attic Installation of Midland, Mackinac Properties and Northern Michigan Vacation Rentals, buying, selling, and renting properties in the Straits of Mackinac region since 1998, Tim's Collision Plus in Roscommon, Harrison Power Sports, Central Michigan's fastest growing full-line Arctic Cat dealer, and Dr. Robert Townsend and Denali Healthcare for your alternative healthcare needs.
Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.